You ever see a teenager do something that just seems completely insane and wonder why? I mean, they're smart people, right? They understand the risks, and yet they still do it. It's one of the biggest puzzles of being human. Well, today we're going to dive deep into the science behind that. And let me tell you, the real answer is way more interesting than you think.
Just picture it for a second. It's Friday night, a 16-year-old is driving, friends in the car, music blasting, and there it is. A long, empty stretch of road opens up in front of them. Now their brain knows the speed limit. It absolutely knows the dangers. But there's this other, much louder voice, this powerful urge that's just screaming, "Go faster! See what this car can do!" That feeling, that internal battle is exactly what we're going to unpack.
So, what is it? It's not about being rebellious, and it's definitely not about being dumb. The answer lies in our biology, in an amazing, predictable, and totally essential part of our brain's development known as the adolescent gap. And get this, it's not a bug in the system. From an evolutionary point of view, it's actually a feature. So let's pop the hood and see what's really going on in there.
Okay, to really get the adolescent gap, you have to imagine the teenage brain is like a race car. It's got this brand new, supercharged engine, but the brakes are still on back order. There's this wild, out-of-sync race happening inside their head, because you've got two critical systems developing at completely different speeds.
And this race boils down to these two brain regions right here. On one side, you've got the engine. That's the limbic system. It goes into overdrive during puberty, making teens incredibly sensitive to emotions, to rewards, to all things exciting. But on the other side, you've got the brakes. That's the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain in charge of logic, impulse control, and, thinking through the consequences. The problem? It doesn't fully come online until you're in your early 20s. And this chart? Man, it just lays it all out. Look at that gap. You have the limbic system, that powerful engine, just revving at 90%, but the prefrontal cortex, our braking system, is lagging way behind. It's this exact mismatch, a huge drive for what feels good and exciting without a fully formed ability to pump the brakes, that explains so much of that classic, risk-taking teenage behavior. So, you might be thinking, wow, that sounds like a terrible design. But here's the twist. From a developmental psychology perspective, this gap is a feature, not a flaw. This intense period of risk-taking is actually a vital tool that serves two incredibly important jobs on the path to becoming a well-adjusted adult. And the first one is all about figuring out who you're meant to be. That first job is something we call identity formation. I mean, think about it. To figure out who you are, you can't stay in the safe little bubble of your family forever. You have to step out. You have to experiment. You try on different personalities, you test your limits, you see what fits. Every social risk, every new challenge, it's all just data for answering that one massive question. Who am I?
And this quote from Arthur C. Clarke just nails it, doesn't it? Adolescence is all about discovery. Discovery of yourself, discovery of the world, and that powerful neurological push to explore and take risks. That's what motivates a teenager to push past what's comfortable and find out what they're really made of.
Okay, so the second huge benefit of all this risk-taking is a process with a cool name, synaptic pruning. Here's the deal. A little kid's brain has way more neural connections than it needs. It's a tangled mess of potential. To become a sleek, efficient adult brain, it has to be customized. It needs to cut away the pathways it doesn't use and double down on the ones that are important.
I love this metaphor. Imagine the young brain is just this wild, overgrown bush. It could grow into anything. Well, all the new experiences you have during your teen years act like a pair of gardening shears, carefully trimming and sculpting that bush until it takes a specific shape, a specialized, highly efficient brain, the rabbit. So how does the trimming actually work? It's pretty straightforward. Every time a teen has a new or risky experience, whether it's learning guitar or figuring out a tough social situation, the brain tests out its connections. The pathways that get used and prove to be helpful, they get stronger. And the ones that just sit there collecting dust, they get removed. So risk-taking is literally providing the data the brain needs to build itself for the world it's actually living in.
All right, let's zoom out for the big picture. Let's see how this all fits into the grand story of human evolution. Because this stage, this messy, risky teenage phase, isn't a mistake. It's actually a brilliant part of a division of labor that plays out across our entire lifespan.
You can basically break down our lives into 3 phases. Childhood is the basic research phase. You're just a little sponge, soaking up raw data about the world. Adulthood is for practical application. You take your finely tuned brain and you go out and do things efficiently. And adolescence? Well, that's the clinical trials phase. It's high risk, it's chaotic, but it's absolutely essential for testing new ways of being and doing. And that leads us to this really profound idea.
If we somehow found a way to get rid of all adolescent risk-taking, we might actually be harming our entire species. We could end up with a generation of people who are less flexible, less creative, and less able to adapt to a world that is always changing. That teenage impulsivity, it's part of the engine that keeps humanity moving forward.
So, all of this leaves us with a final, really important question. If we know this drive to take risks is not only natural but necessary, then the goal shouldn't be to stamp it out. The real challenge for us, for parents, for teachers, for society, is to ask, how can we be better architects of safe arenas? How can we create environments where teens can do this vital work of pushing boundaries and exploring their world without it costing them everything? That, right there, is the real puzzle we need to solve.